Hey everybody, we're doing an impromptu TBT react here tonight. I'm Ryan Scott from D3Hoops.com, and we have Zach Snyder here from the D3 Datacast, and we've got recently graduated D3 Hoops All-American Adam Brazel down here because we need someone who actually has played some basketball to give us credibility here tonight. So, um, just first, guys, what were thoughts about this amazing win from the TBT team, moving on to the Elite Eight?
Let's start with the
I
basketball
mean,
guy first.
yeah, just it's like it's shocking, but it's not because it's like you want to say it's incredible, you want to say it's unbelievable, but it's not. And so I just love the energy the guys are playing with and like how together they are. It's so D3 to say all that, but it's like it's just so fun to see D3 guys be the best players on the court against high major guys from UConn and Syracuse. And actually, guy at Syracuse, Buddy Boeheim, he's actually like, kind of a friend of mine. And so I was like kind of feeling bad for him. And then I was like, wait, hold on. This means something to like D3 guys across the country. It means something. And so like they're really putting on, and it feels like as a D3 athlete that like you're winning vicariously through them. And so it just makes you really happy to see.
Yeah, for me, I was thinking about just the game we just saw against the UConn alumni. You know, you got the D3 guys, you got the UConn alumni, but really I felt like it was Marcus Azor was the best player on the court tonight. And then the other night, you got the Syracuse alumni, but it was Ty Nichols who was the best player on the court that night, right? So two games in a row here, getting the big win. And it was really the D3 guy and different guy, right? It's not like Ty had a night tonight like he did against Syracuse. It was a different guy, a little bit more of a team effort, but I thought on the whole, it was Marcus Azor really stuck out as not just we are D3's best player, but really the best player on the court. I don't think there was anyone that the UConn side had to match him.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noticed going through this is we've got like 13 guys who are stars, right? None of the other
Yeah.
teams really have that. They pick names and they're guys who are playing different roles. But, I was thinking about like what the highest average, career high score is for any of these. Like ours has got to be 30, right? Like almost everyone on this team has a career high well over 30, at least for their best game. And just come off the end of the bench and hit a big shot. And nobody is like worried about the big moment. Um, one of the reasons I wanted Adam you on here is I was really impressed at the end of the game, that towards the end of the Elam ending, when things were a little chaotic. Hank Morgan gets the ball, and this is someone who is used to shooting 20 times a game, every game for his whole career, and didn't even look at the rim. Right, he knew that that was not the game plan, and just like as a player to move from a position like you were in, where the ball's always in your hand, you're making every decision, to be a role player in just a couple of months here. Like, what is the mindset? What does that take to be able to do that?
Well, it definitely takes a special kind of player, someone who's selfless. And getting to know Hank at the D3 All Star game in Fort Wayne this past year was awesome. Like, didn't really know the guy, NESCAC Player of the Year, 6'6", 6'7", can shoot the cover off the ball, but he's athletic. He has all these attributes that play to him being a star player anytime he steps on the floor. But he gets the ball and, like you said, doesn't look at the goal at all. Doesn't dribble the ball, which is awesome. I'm glad he didn't just dribble and pick it up. And he's just looking for Ty Nichols and Marcus Azor, and he's like, okay, where are these guys? And I think he makes just a nice chest pass to one of them, and then he kind of cuts through, and it's like he did that pretty much all game long, though, as far as making the
Yeah.
right play, right? And so like it's not that you're passive; it's just that you know what to do in the right moment, and he did that, and that was big time, and it ended up working out.
Zach, what were some of your surprises tonight? I know your brother posted about Murray being someone that he was not quite aware of. Who stood out to you, maybe besides him?
Um, I think what stood out to me was just like I mentioned, it was a little bit more of a team effort, and it's just like you mentioned the depth. It's just like, you know, it seems like Mike Rainiac has a toolbox full of tools, and depending on the situation or what's going on that day, he can pick a different one, and it seems to be working like on any given day. And I thought, the close to the second half to the second quarter going into halftime was really big. And then I was maybe a little bit surprised to see that Coach Reg stuck with a lot of what was working, right? So it wasn't like we're starting the second half, the starters back out there, right? I think Tom Corey, Hank Morgan, and David Murray were all out there to start the second half, right? So he's definitely like playing with his pieces, putting guys where he thinks they're going to be the most successful, and it really seems to be working because he's got a full bench. Any of those guys know at this point their number could be called at any time. And, there's no guys that are just there along for the ride, right? They're all contributing in different ways in different times. And, Coach Reg is obviously very comfortable going to anyone who's on his roster.
Yeah, and there's maybe just another one for Adam to respond as a player. Like, so Tom Quarry had like 2 seconds of playing time in the Syracuse game. He made a pretty rough turnover, and it looked like it was a little bit of a big moment for him. And I immediately thought when they put him in this game, like, man, is he going to struggle? What's going to be the deal? And he was right in it, right? Like, and he was able to lock in and get over kind of that rough moment that he had the previous game, and then had huge minutes, right? Like the mindset to be able to go and just right off the last bad game and be right into the next one. That's a difficult thing that they need to be able to do.
Yeah, it takes like next play speed is what we call it. I'm sure other teams call it that too, but like how quick can you get to the next play? And then, that's also like next game too. When you don't get a lot of minutes and you maybe don't play well in one game, like that carries over mentally for a lot of players. And it's like, do you have the experience and the confidence to like leave that in the past and say, okay, this is a new game. And in order for me to be my best, in order for the team to be their best, we got to forget about what happened, good or bad, in the past, and make it like you're just reacting. You're just playing. You're in the present, and that's all it is. And so that's what he did.
And I thought you could see that mindset, right? Because I think he had the first kind of breakthrough play early in the game after he got in, like crashing the glass, gets the offensive rebound, put back, and that just kind of got him going. He also had, the drew an offensive foul on the other end. So, right, it's just you could see he was having that mindset of maybe things didn't go his way in another game, but it was a new game, and he was, bringing the energy, just finding ways, anything he could do to help the team.
And we think about, I mean, a lot of this is geared towards pro careers, right? The guys are in this because they want to get a contract or get a better contract. And to just think about that's what those teams are going to want to see, right? If you're coming out of D3 and you've been a star, they're not going to expect you to be that, even if you are good enough at on their team. And they want to see that you can play the role, you can have some of this kind of resilience and play a different position, play a different role. I'm thinking like Christian Parker too. It's the same kind of way that he's been just hitting all the boards when he's been in there. He didn't play as many minutes in this game, probably because of the matchups, but like somebody who just you can see how good he is when he's not even the focus of the offense.
Yeah, and I think Alex Sobel is a guy I've thought a lot about in that vein, right? Like at Middlebury, you'd see the offense running through him a lot, and that is not his role at all. He's kind of there as a bigger body to hold his own against whatever the other bigger bodies are, and rebound. And he looks perfectly fine to play that role. It's working out.
Well, and even like the adaptability, the first couple of games, it seemed like he felt like he was there to be a post offensive presence. And, this game was just sort of like, I'm going to hack these guys and make them work for every bucket they get. And that was the role they needed him to play tonight. And he's really good at it, and to be able to even switch that mindset from one game to the next of like, this is what I thought I was going to be doing. And now I'm doing this. Adam, we should check in with you. You've graduated now. What are the future plans? Are you going to try to keep playing basketball? Do you have another job lined up? What would you look at this? Is this like I really want to be out there, or is this kind of like I'm glad these guys are doing that. I'm off on my own thing.
It's definitely like an I want to be out there thing. And I think it's super impressive, especially with Christian Parker and Hank Morgan just being out there uh, straight out of college. Like these other guys have played pro for 2, 3, I think up to like 8 years of pro. And so, I definitely want to get to that point. I am trying to play pro basketball still. I have not found a contract. Turns out it's a little bit more difficult when you're 5'10" than I initially imagined because size matters in basketball, I guess. But so, yeah, I'm still working through some of that stuff, trying to figure out where I'm going to end up going. Have a potential opportunity in Spain, Japan, and I'm hoping for Ireland for this first year. So I just really want to get my feet wet, any kind of opportunity, not really caring about money. But if you guys know anybody, tell them you know me.
We're gonna pass the word along. So in that vein, like I wanted to ask, what do you see as you look out there for some of these guys who've been pros for a while but come from where you have? Like, I mean, this is the role you want to get into. This is the thing you're working for. What do you see as the differences, but like between like the college players you're playing with and these guys who've had a couple of seasons to improve their game?
Yeah, I think one thing is it's pretty similar to from the leap to high school to college is like every window gets smaller, every opportunity to score, to shoot, to pass. Um, the entire game is faster and more physical, and so I definitely have to adapt to that. I was never the fastest or the most physical guy on the court, even in D3. So in the pros, I really got to try to make that leap and make up for it with even more skill, I think. And then you know just like some small things that I notice is the pace that guards play with, from going from slow to fast, and their change of direction, their ability to probe, take these heavy steps and explode, and um, yeah, there's definitely levels to it, right? And so I want to get there one day, but I'm gonna keep working until then.
And it seemed like, and maybe Zach, I'll have you chime in too. Like you watch these guys, many of them in college, and they're
Yeah.
here now. I think especially like Nichols and Azor are guys that we knew had kind of these triple threat. They're both like triple double machines in
Yeah.
college, but often you feel like when they speed up, maybe a little error prone, and that's just not there anymore, right? That's what they've eliminated in the game is they can play so fast without making the kinds of mistakes that maybe we would expect from somebody like that at D3.
Yeah, I guess you keep developing, and you just get a little bit better with that. And like you said, we knew these were guys like you tune into a game because you don't know what you're going to see. You're going to see something special. And so just as a Division 3 basketball fan, it's so fun to have TBT, have this team in TBT, and be like, I get a chance to watch Marcus Azor do what we know he can do another time. And just to see him doing it at an even higher level against, guys who played at the highest level of college basketball is awful fun.
Well, and even the way he's developed, like he's got a shot now that he definitely
Yeah.
did not have
Yeah.
at UMass Dartmouth.
Right.
And even being coming on, I don't know how long you kept watching the broadcast afterwards, but they brought him back after the second commercial break to talk.
Yeah.
And that is definitely not his personality, at least as we knew him. I to be able to go out there and say, like, I'm gonna sell myself as a pro, right? I gotta do this and make sure that I'm owning this game that I had tonight. Which was pretty cool to see. Um, I don't want to just repeat all the stuff that's on Twitter, but we do need to talk about like what this means as in terms of D3 and the reputation and the platform that this is for people to see what Division 3 can do. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, it means something, right? Like, I love seeing the reactions on Twitter and just people retweeting stuff, liking stuff, and the community coming together. But like if you're a hoops fan across the country, you know about TBT and you're tuned into the tournament at least here and there. And by this stage, like now we're going into the Elite Eight, right? So it's like you've heard of We Are D3, and you're like, okay, We Are D3. Like this is probably mostly D3 guys. No, it's all D3 guys. It's all guys that graduated from Division 3 institutions, and you're like, okay, well, how good is Division 3 basketball? Like you have to reevaluate that now. You have to because we're beating you. I say we, but I'm gonna say we because we are
We're all
D3.
we all say we.
Like that's the whole thing. Um, but yeah, so it's like it means something. We're we're basically saying we've arrived. Like we are here. We were there and we were climbing for those years that we were first round exits. We won a game last year, but now we're rolling. And I feel like we have a great shot to win it. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but like we have a great shot to win this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think it shows, like not only do players who go Division 3 still have an opportunity to play professionally, right? But like you look at a guy like Ty Nichols or the career that Marcus Azar is having, or some of these guys are more just kind of getting into it. But like you can go and actually have a career in Europe, right? So it's not like just getting the chance. It's not like, oh, these guys are good. No, these guys are good. They've gotten the opportunity to go play professionally. They're getting better and better. And that's one of the cool things that like watching this We Are D3 program develop over the last couple of years is seeing a little bit of a core team develop that Rainiac's been able to keep together, right? And these guys, you can see them like they've grown together a little bit and they come back each year just a little bit better. And this is not just like an all-star team that flies in to play some games, right? They're really developing, it seems like, a connection, and it's impressive to see, and it's been fun to see it build over the last, I would say, especially the last like 3 years.
I love that you said that, Zach, because it's like it's evident in the post game stuff,
Yeah.
but just like the way that the guys celebrate one another, and it's joyful to see because it's like the game of basketball in a time where you could be really, really selfish about a pro contract or about, like does social media post about me? Do I have good stats? Guys are just like amped and they're so hyped for the other guys on the We Are D3 team that are succeeding. Even if you're not playing a ton, like you're still just as happy as a Ty Nichols or a Marcus Azor right now. Like everyone's happy for each other. And I'd love to see that train keep rolling.
Yeah. One of the things being able to cover the last few Final Fours that's really stuck out to me is how consistently we hear from players. Adam, you guys were one of those up there on that podium a couple years ago, is that, winning is not an ends of itself, right? It's a means to an end, and it's about getting more days together, another practice, another week, another game, whatever it is, right? And so I feel like I see that taking shape here with this team, right? They get the win. Now they're moving on to Wichita. They get some more time together. We see in the way they play that they enjoy being together, the way they celebrate together. And so I got to imagine that same sentiment we hear from teams who make those Final Four runs is kind of what we're seeing here with this team.
And Reg, I mean, it took him some time to figure that out, right? Like we certainly had the mindset, and maybe that was his mindset going in at the beginning. I don't know, but the first couple of teams, it was very much an individual. Like I'm here to showcase so I can get my next contract, and that's not the point, right? Like I mean, that's
Yeah.
why most of the guys are here. But at the same time, you also want this money, right? Only one team gets the money, and so you gotta be together. And I'm wondering if that's going to make an impact. This run is going to make an impact on how some of these other alumni teams are put together. It really does seem like some of the big schools are just sort of throwing guys, who's free this weekend, who wants to come back and play.
Right.
And then maybe have to take it a little more seriously with some of these teams. Because there's what did I see? They said in the final eight, there's only one of the top seeds that made it through. Like everybody else got upset. And those are usually the big clubs that kind of assume that they can win these games at the beginning. And it's the upstarts that are coming through. And I think, like Adam said, we've got a good shot to win this next game. And the one after that's Heartfire, which was a close game last year, right? So, like, I mean, this is not, I mean, it's a Cinderella in a story, and I imagine they're going to play it up a lot because they don't have any of the big teams left. But like, this is a very winnable tournament for these guys. They are no longer underdogs.
I think the next matchup, speaking of the upsets, is against a 7 seed, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine We Are D3 will be the favorites in that game. We'll see.
And D3 connections in that one too. They've got at least one D3 guy on the roster, and one of the coaches is assistant somewhere in Ohio or Indiana, I think. So
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I haven't looked a lot at some of the other rosters, but Ryan, I believe you tweeted something like 45 players with D3
I
connections.
counted
in the
47 D3 alums on a roster.
Yeah.
Now I would say 15 of them may not have ever seen the floor in any of these games, but like they're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll wrap this up, guys. That's been about 20 minutes. That's probably good. I just wanted to get a chance for us to get some reactions. We're doing this like an hour after the game ended. I don't know when it's going to get up, but thanks, guys, for hopping on and doing this experiment with me. And we're going to do something more formal in a day or so as a preview for Sunday. But tune in, everybody. It's FS1, 7 o'clock Sunday night. And I think we're going to get another win.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Good job, team.